YouTube, man, it's LNH. We are back with another video once again. And today, man, I uncovered some information about Kyree Walker from the past that a lot of you guys really don't know. And I think this could change your whole perspective. And man, I gotta be honest, people gotta put some respect on his name after I release this, not gonna lie. Now, before I get in the video, man, like this video, show some love to the channel. I appreciate each and every one of you. Subscribe, please subscribe, it's free. Turn on those post notifications to get new notification every time I put out a new video so you don't miss any of the heat content that we put out. Alright, now let's get into it. Now, of course, I've made a bunch of videos on Kyree Walker, man. Shout out to Kyree. Man, he was one of the, honestly, the best players in middle school. You guys know this by now. Came to high school, things really didn't get as high. He was still ranked pretty highly, about a 3-star recruit. And what I wanted to say, and I found something very interesting about Kyree back in high school. Now, you guys know whenever we said middle school, man, this dude was throwing the ball off the backboard, dunking the ball, doing all that. And that's where he really got his clout and his fame from. And then once he went to high school, he was still a solid player, but I just don't think he got that same recognition like he did in middle school. Now, I saw a post actually stating some of his numbers in high school, and people are so quickly to forget about how much of a dog this guy was in high school. Now, his sophomore year at Hillcrest, and you guys know a lot of people have gone to Hillcrest. Dior Johnson was there at one point, so was Jacob, aka Joshua Christopher. So they've had a ton of really good players go to Hillcrest. Now, he was averaging 25 points per game, 8.3 rebounds per game, and about 9 assists per game. Now, that is solid. If you're trying to tell me a sophomore coming into high school is averaging that many amount of points and he's not one of the best players in the country, man, you could not tell me. And the fact that he was only ranked 3 stars as well was really tough to hear about. Now, in addition to this, not only was he averaging that many points, but he was playing against a national schedule. Now, whenever we talk about competition, man, if you're playing against a national schedule, you are playing against some of the best teams in the country and in your area, and you have to give him props for that. At the end of the day, if you're playing against people that are really good, it shows how good you are. Him averaging this many points, it just shows he's a bucket. And a lot of people really don't give him that recognition just because, of course, you guys know what happened after that. His senior year, he decided to sit out and did not play. Now, even in his junior year, he was putting up crazy numbers as well. Now, averaging around 30 points per game, 6 assists per game, and 11 rebounds. Now, man, 36 and 11, and you guys are not trying to tell me this guy was a bucket? Like, it's crazy just because a lot of people put in the fact and talk about his age. Now, this is something I really want to talk about because whenever we talk about players reclassing this and that, man, you got to keep in mind, it really doesn't matter, to be honest. Of course, if someone's 25 playing high school basketball, okay, you can say something about that. But if someone's a tad bit older than the age that they're supposed to be for their specific grade, man, it really shouldn't even worry you. If you're a real bucket like that and a really good player, man, at the end of the day, if your goal is the NBA, it's not going to matter age. You know, at the next level, you're going to be playing against grown men, and age is not going to help you. Age is just an excuse that people put out nowadays because, you know, they want things to be fair. But if you're really a bucket, man, you shouldn't even care about information like that. Now, regardless of Kyree's age, man, he was putting up crazy numbers, and I think you have to give him credit for that. And especially playing against that type of competition he was, man, you got to give him credit for how much of a bucket he was, man. And age really does not matter. Even if you guys know D-Rich as well, D-Rich TV, shout out to him, man, he talked about this too, reclassing and that type of stuff. Man, if you're trying to get to the next level, it really doesn't matter. You just got to focus on your own game, getting your own buckets, and doing your thing on the court, man. You really shouldn't be worried about the next man and how old he is, because at the end of the day, if you have talent, man, you should still be playing well. It doesn't even really matter. But I think that's something that we really have to keep in mind. And Kyree Walker, of course, always puts out a lot of different tweets talking about, you know, a lot of different situations that are going on in his life. But man, he's put out some really interesting ones, and I want to read some of them. Now, the first one I'm going to talk about is this one. Rankings don't mean nothing to me. You can't put me anywhere on any list. I will destroy your favorite player. And man, I really like the confidence of this one because it shows, man, you guys should know by now, and a lot of people know, man, rankings are biased on some of these websites. Man, ESPN, when we look at it, I can't lie, sometimes some of those rankings are looking kind of crazy because, of course, they're going to have certain biases and maybe they're going to want to rank a player higher than another one. And even when Kyree talked about how his rankings had dropped because he sat out his senior year, he made one really interesting point that I think a lot of people missed. Now, Kyree stated that other players who were injured, didn't play the entire season, kept their rankings, but just because he didn't play high school basketball and decided to sit out, he really fell off the rankings. And I believe he was ranked about 200 something, which is crazy to me. If just a year ago, this dude was averaging 30 points per game, it really doesn't make too much sense. And of course, he had stated in that interview as well that they said they didn't like his confidence, aka his cockiness on the court. They said they really didn't like that, and that's why he was D-ranked. And man, it clearly shows egos get into rankings. It's not all about the player and how good he is at the end of the day. And you guys should know by now, long term, do rankings really matter? Nope, they don't. How many times do you see these NBA players come out as stars and they weren't even ranked in high school and had no type of clout and no one knew who they were? Now, of course, Kyree does have clout. People do know he is, who he is. He has a ton of talent, and people do know, a little bit about him and his story. But this dude clearly is demonstrating that rankings do not matter, and I think he's going to show what he's made of. Now, you guys know by now he actually ended up going to Chameleon BX, that training facility, put in work on his game, and get to the next level. And I think he is going to break some of the stereotypes and the ways that we think of getting to the NBA. Of course, honestly, this is a path that some players really have not taken. Now, I want to put in another player who has taken a similar path, but it's almost like we completely forget about him. And I believe his name is Anthony Simmons. Now, he was another player, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe he did something very similar to Kyree, where he sat out a year, really trained. He didn't go to college, worked on his game, and then he made it to the NBA. And I've seen some games at one time when this dude was on the Trailblazers and he was doing his thing on the court. Now, I'm not 100% sure where he was, but it's crazy how people are so quick to bash Kyree for sitting out that senior year, then training instead of going to college or something like that, where someone else has already done something so similar to what Kyree has done. I think that shows how hypocritical some of the commenters are here, because man, we got to look at it and you got to be honest. If someone did something very similar to Kyree, but then we look at Kyree's situation and want to make all these excuses, oh, he's older than he's supposed to be, this guy's a grown man, and we say all these other things, but he's not even the first player to do something like this. So it's really interesting, to see the type of route that he has taken. Now, even coming out of high school, man, a lot of people had speculated that there were a couple places Kyree Walker would be going. Now, some had actually said Arkansas, some had said Kansas, and others had said Memphis. And now, you guys know by now, also Jalen Green had some interest in Memphis as well. So man, if those two would have teamed up, that team up and that duo would have been insane. Man, seeing those guys get buckets back and forth and just knowing their motors. And of course, Jalen shooting and Kyree Walker being able to drive to the hoop and just has that dog to him, that would have been an exciting backcourt for sure. But of course, that didn't happen. Kyree Walker is now preparing for the draft. You guys know it's in June by now, and no one knows what's going to happen. Personally, I think depending on how he does in the draft workouts, that's one thing that's huge. A lot of people are going to be open to him. Guys, if someone has talent and you're good enough, people are going to look towards you and see how good of a player you are. And in these workouts is when I think is going to be the best time for him to show, can he really play? Has he really improved on his game? Like we have seen, we've seen a lot of training videos, but very few in-game videos we've seen of Kyree Walker. So if we could see some footage of that. But at the end of the day, I think he's put in a ton of muscle and a ton of work into his game. This dude is clearly someone who's always in the gym, and I really think that we got to give him some credit for that. But man, I'm really curious what you guys think about this and what you think about Kyree Walker. Yes, not being the first one to go to some type of facility to train and then go to the NBA. I'm really curious what you guys think about the path. And you guys should know by now, everyone's path to the NBA is different. Some people start off hot and lose gas. Some people just make it straight to the NBA. Others, it takes some time. What do you think his time frame is to get to the league? Do you think he's actually going to get drafted in this upcoming NBA draft? Or do you think maybe he's going to go to the G League or even maybe try to go to college? I don't know. At the end of the day, the limits are really endless for where his career could take him, but I'm curious, what do you guys think? And of course, he's on Twitch as well. This guy's not just sitting around. He clearly has a lot going for him. So man, let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like this video, man. Show some love to the channel. Like this video, subscribe, turn on those post notifications so you get a new notification every time I upload a brand new video. We are dropping heat for sure. All right, it's LNH out.